So yeah, there's been a hell of a lot of Jaws rip-offs over the years, and for the most part, they're shit. A lot of them are shit, with a few exceptions. And today's movie I'm talking about is one of those exceptions. 1977's Orca the Killer Whale is way better than it has any right to be. This movie was a Dino De Laurentiis production and was directed by Michael Anderson. And again, it was trying to cash in the wave of the Jaws popularity that had been sweeping the 1970s. And while a lot of those knockoffs were cheap Italian fare, this was not the case with this movie. De Laurentiis put a lot of time and money and talent into this movie. First off, the cast is amazing. Our protagonist, and I am going to use the term protagonist because he's definitely not a hero, is Captain Nolan, portrayed by the amazing Irish actor Richard Harris. Harris gives one hell of a performance, way more than this movie deserves. And the thing I like is he's not putting on some fake American accent. He is going with his Irish accent. His character is Irish, and his character has an interesting backstory in that he doesn't want to be the captain of this whaling vessel. He wants to go back to Ireland, which brings him into a tragic confrontation with the Orca itself. He kills the Orca's mate by mistake, and unknowns to him, the mate was carrying the Orca's offspring. Both are killed, and this causes said Orca to go on a quest of revenge against Captain Nolan. The interesting thing is there's parallels drawn between Nolan and the Orca. Harris's Nolan tells a very impassioned story about how his own wife and child was killed by a drunk driver and how he can empathize with the Orca. The creature itself though is destroying the local fishing industry, and Nolan is being blamed, so he takes it upon himself to hunt down and destroy the creature, aided by Charlotte Ramblin's marine biologist Dr. Bedford, who informs Nolan that certain species of orca have been known to seek revenge upon those who have wronged them. Ramblin's Dr. Bedford is very interesting, as she both empathises with Nolan's situation but also doesn't want to see the creature destroyed, giving a unique dichotomy to the mission at hand. The rest of the cast is fairly solid. You have Will Sampson from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest as Nolan's first mate, and you also have Bo Derek showing up. But for me, the real star of the show is the orca itself, done with a combination of underwater footage of actual orcas, and the two actual performing orcas were known as Yaka and Nepu. But along with these two performing orcas, there was some fantastic animatronics, so fantastic in fact that when the orcas were being drove in via truck to set, animal rights activists tried to stop them. That's just how good and indelible the creature effects were on this movie. Just a little fun fact dropped in here as well. Richard Harris says he loved doing this movie, probably because he was drunk most of the time. And yes, that's not helping the stereotype, but apparently he saw pictures of his ex-wife with another man in the tabloids and got so fucking drunk he insisted on doing his own stunts, which nearly caused him to be killed several times. But yeah, I just said I'd drop that in there. One last fantastic thing about this movie is the soundtrack. De Laurentiis hired Ennio Morricone to do the soundtrack for this movie, and oh my god, it is fucking gorgeous. Again, as I said before, this movie is far better than it has any right to be, and Morricone's score is another reason for this. Sure, it's not his top tier work like the Dollars trilogy, but even subpar work from Ennio Morricone is fucking excellent any day of the week. So yeah guys, if you haven't seen Orca, check it out. Sure, it is at its bare bones a Jaws knockoff, but what you get is something far more cerebral than it has any right to be. The ending is rather shocking and very ballsy considering what the movie sets up, and in general, something far more interesting than the absolute fucking truckload of shitty Jaws knockoffs to come out of Italy in the 1970s. So yeah guys, have you seen Orca? If you have, let me know in the comments below. My name's Martin, this has been the Trash Picture Show, and yeah, have a good one. Bye now.